The views, opinions, positions, or strategies expressed on WLAF TV 12 do not necessarily reflect those of the staff, management, ownership, or advertisers of WLAF TV 12, 1450 WLAF Radio, FM 100.9, or 1450WLAF.com.
When every second counts, count on Vital Care MedTrans. You do have a choice when it comes to ambulance service in this area. So when you call 911, ask for the best.
Wait a minute, are you Vital Care?
Yes, we are.
Good.
State-of-the-art equipment and a well-trained staff who stand ready to respond to your call. That's Vital Care MedTrans, when nothing but the best will do.
Are we on? We on, Honeybee? Thank you. Okay, folks, this is Jerry Chadwell, Straight Talk Live. We're with you for the next 58, 59 minutes, something like that. We appreciate you watching. Remember, our folks, John Bond and his folks down there at Vital Care, for some reason, unfortunate reason that you might need 911, ask them to send Vital Care down your way. When you ask for Vital Care, they'll call Vital Care up, send the folks right out. They'll get right out and take good care of you. So, give them a consideration. They do a good job, and they're ready to come get you and take you where you need to go. Also, Jacksboro Metals, their hours, I see, I got a little thing here. They take aluminum, brass, iron, lead, scrap, steel cans, batteries, stainless steel, copper, appliances, cars. But they're working on cleaning up the county down there at Jacksboro Metals. Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., then Saturday, 8 a.m. to 12. Best prices that you're possibly going to get on all that stuff that you need to get rid of. They'll take it and dispose of it. And the best thing about that is we don't end up seeing all that stuff on the side of the road somewhere. Cluttering up the countryside. So, get your stuff together, take it down there to Jacksboro Metals. So, we got some good things going on in the county. We've had some good things going. We had the big fishing tournament this weekend. I went down there at the start of that thing and went down there way early. I think they ended up having something like 195, 196, 197 boats. And if I remember right, well, I'm looking right here. We had two of our local folks, Chris Lambden and Jimmy White. I'm reading WLAF's webpage here. It's got a picture of them on there if you want to go see it, 1450WLAF.com. Chris Lambden and Jimmy White apparently took home first prize. And the article here says that they won $10,500. Okay, it was a great tournament. Those folks were in town for. We had some folks from California drove in for that tournament. They were hoping to have about 225 folks in it, but that thing got put together kind of short notice, and it was on Mother's Day weekend. So I talked to the folks, and they are planning on doing that thing again next year, and they're going to get private sponsors and put this thing together. And folks, it brings a lot of people to town. I'm going to get a report. I haven't got it yet. It's not put out yet, but the folks that put on the tournament, one of the things they do, I found out, Commissioner Rusty Orrick, I was talking to him. He was out there with Commissioner Mailman Kitts. They were out there, and Commissioner Orrick told me that one of the things they do is, let's see, we got, you're on the air.
Well, it is online. You can find out everything you want about that tournament if you just go look. You probably didn't look.
Did they put the information? What I was going to say is they do a survey. The people that do the tournament do a survey with each person in each person in the boat and ask them, where did you stay? Where did you get gas? Where did you buy groceries and all that? And they give a report back to the community, to the county, as far as the economic impact on the county. Is that online somewhere already? I've been told that report's not ready yet.
Well, we talked to Sam last night, and everything's good to go, and everything's on there. And he's a good guy. Sam is a great guy. He said he can't wait.
Who's Sam?
Sam Phillips is the director of Morristown Marine and the director of that tournament. So
Okay.
Sam Phillips is a great guy. We spoke to him last night, and he is so amazed at what Campbell County did. He said the hospitality that he had there was amazing.
Oh, it was a great tournament. I knew I was involved in a couple, 3 different events with the tournament. It was a great tournament, a great turnout. They were tickled to death with the turnout. But you say those numbers as far as where people stood, because I know they say that you still there? They hung up. I wish they'd have told me where online that information is, but they were going to put the information as far as I was told that the Holiday Inn Express was booked up. You couldn't get in there. The fishermen, and their families, whoever they brought with them, had that hotel booked up. I was told the Hampton Inn was booked up. And folks, when all these people come in and they book up the hotels and the restaurants, they go eat here. They buy gas here. They go to the grocery store here. They buy souvenirs here. They run around the county, and they run around outside counties also. But they're down there on the lakes fishing a lot, and they're using a lot of gas in those boats. It's very financially beneficial to the county to do things like this. It's a great benefit to the county. And the turnout, I talked to the folks Saturday morning at the tournament down there at the White Bridge Park. And they said it was a great turnout for the first time. It was a great turnout. They were hoping to have a few more, but they were not disappointed because they realized it was Mother's Day weekend, and it was just a good turn. It was a good turnout, and I talked to several of the fishermen, and they had a great time. And the ones I talked to said definitely they would be back. They would come again. So I didn't know who this Mr. Phillips was. Maybe because he's not the one I talked to. Maybe I can get a hold of him and get him to call in sometime and we can talk about it on here. But when I get those numbers about the economic impact on the county, hopefully I'll have that by next week, because they put that survey together. They do a real exhaustive survey, and they put that information together, and hopefully they'll have that for the county commission for next Monday's meeting, and then I can get that and tell you, what the impact was. But things like that, and we had a bunch of local folks. I saw a bunch of people that I know that had their boats out there and participated in the tournament. I ain't gonna tell you his name, but I had one of them tell me, said, we're gonna win this thing. It's no question, we're gonna win this thing. And I asked him Sunday at church, and he said, no, we didn't win it. He said, we ended up having some bad luck. But you know what? It's like that old saying, a bad day fishing beats a good day working any time. So they still had a good time. So, but, next time that thing comes around next year, we need to support that as much as we can. I think County Mayor Morton is probably already, because those things take a little while to put together. Mayor Baird last year, that was to his credit, that was one of the things that he pushed real strong to get in here, and did a good job with that, because it worked out just fine. So, but if you want to talk about the fishing tournament, we'll talk about that, okay? Also, I'd like to hear from some of you folks that went down to the carnival last week down here in the city of La Follette. I went down there 3 or 4 times. I wanted to see what was going on, see how well it was being supported by folks. And I met the guy who owned the carnival one night. Some of those, the Lions Club people that were here on the show 2 or 3 weeks ago, took me down there and introduced me to him. And he gave me his business card with had his cell phone number on it. And I told him after it was over with, I was going to call him and ask him, was it successful for him? Did he think it would be successful enough to come back and do this again? So, because, County Mayor Morton, again, one of the good things he's trying to do is he's considering putting together a panel, or a committee, I should say, a committee of folks to try to bring a county fair. I've mentioned that before. So I talked to Mr. Young, who owns that carnival, and I talked to him about that, and while he was here, and he said, well, that just depends on how well this thing goes, and we put together a time to talk about it, and I called him yesterday, and I asked him, I said, well, did you have a successful enough run that you would want to come back to Campbell County? He said, absolutely. He said it was a great turnout. The community supported it real well. The city of La Follette had police officers. I mean, there were police officers all through that crowd, okay? As far as I know, I didn't hear of any problems, any trouble, anything like that out of the way during the whole run of that carnival. As far as I know, everything went really well. And you folks supported it, okay? You did well, you supported it, and Mr. Young said he would be tickled to come back whenever we can set it up for him to bring his carnival and come back. And I went out there, and they had some pretty neat rides. They had a couple of three. There ain't a chance you'd get me on. There's no way that they had one. I took a little video. This thing's going up and down and swinging you way. Ain't no way you could get me on that thing. But the folks was lined up to ride I think everything I saw, folks was lined up, long lines to get on them to ride, and had a good time. And them armband things are just terrific, because if you can buy one for each person, there was, I think, 4 or 5 kiddie rides, and then I think a few more, probably 7 or 8, 9 rides for adults. So there was something for everybody to do. And of course, they had the little games that you could play, win the prizes. I saw some people walk out there with little bitty dolls, and I saw some people walk out there with some big things, so, but it looked like everybody had a great time. So I'd like to hear from some folks that actually went down there to the carnival, supported the carnival. I know that one day I was there, and I asked I mentioned this last week, I asked the Lions Club folks about our elected officials. Pretty much Mayor Stanfield was down there quite a bit, checking on it, and I never did hear of anybody else. I know Bob Fannin was there one night because I saw him. Bob was there, talked to him a long time one night. He was down there supporting it, and I think he told me the next day he was bringing his grandkids back, so I know Bob was supporting it. I don't know who else came down there. There may have been others that I just don't know about, but those are 2 that I do know about. So we had some good things going on. We have some really good things going on down there. And of course, in the city of La Follette, I'm looking at an article here on WLAF's website. There's still some controversy going on down there. We got a deal where Monty Miller, he either is or is not, or has been a detective with the city of La Follette. There seems to be some controversy whether he actually resigned, didn't resign, quit, didn't quit. One of the things I think I read was that, the chief police says that he quit. And then Mr. Miller says he didn't quit. And then I think one of the articles I read, when they brought him, he come back to the city council meeting, it didn't get settled in the city council meeting, but they put him on administrative leave, I think, I don't remember whether it was with pay or without pay. I'm gonna look for that. Maybe somebody can tell me that. But if he was fired, then why is he on administrative leave, whether it's with or without pay? Okay, if that's the case, maybe somebody can call and tell us what's going on there. They're afraid of a lawsuit coming up, and I about guarantee it's probably going to happen. So nobody's really willing to talk about it much. But if somebody really is fired, then there's no reason to put them on administrative leave. So in my understanding is they backed that situation up and did that. Okay, so or if somebody quit, let's say I shouldn't use the word fired. If somebody actually did quit and they're no longer employed there, why would you go through the process of putting them on administrative leave? So that situation there kind of doesn't make sense, and a little bit, so, but just a lot of things going on, folks, a lot of things going on, and some of it good and some of it not so good. Mr. Freeman left here a few minutes ago. I want to mention this. Mr. Freeman left here a few minutes ago, and tomorrow, those of you that listen to the radio station, I'm generally out of town. I don't get to listen to this show. Big Josh Eder is having his 10th year, marking his 10th year with the radio station. Honeybee, what time is his show on? What time is his show on? Josh.
He's the morning DJ.
He's the morning DJ.
He works Monday through Friday, usually from opening till noon.
Open until noon? Okay. I'm out of town, so I don't get to listen to this show. So those of you that know Big Josh, does he do the Trading Post?
He's the voice of the Trading Post, other than Thursdays, and that's Joe Marone.
Okay, so Josh is one that does the Trading Post. Okay, so most of you folks know Josh by the Trading Post, I'm sure, because that's a very popular show. Tomorrow evening, up at the party place at the Eastgate Center, that's up by La Follette Middle School, I believe. From 6 to 8, they're going to have a celebration for Josh's 10th year with the radio station. And plus, I think it marks the 62nd year of the radio station being here. Okay, so WLAF is going to have a big celebration up there. My understanding, there's going to be probably some Coke and some tea and some water, and I think some finger snacks or something like that. So there's, it's just going to be a nice little reception. Everybody's invited that wants to come. So, and they're going to have some musical folks there. They're going to have Carl and Mason T. Caps open the evening at 6 o'clock, and New Harvest will finish up the program. Says there's going to be free food and fun. So tomorrow night at the party place at Eastgate Center, that's between the middle school and DeRoyal. I'm sure up behind that gas station there, from 6 to 8. Again, it's free, no cost, just a fun time, celebrating Big Josh's time on here and WLAF's 62nd birthday. So go up there and enjoy that. Again, folks, you folks, a lot. I hear it all the time. I mentioned it the last 2 weeks. You folks say there's nothing to do. Well, that kind of celebration is not for everybody, but it's something to do. It's something that you can show your appreciation for what these folks do for you by bringing you the radio program in the morning, bringing you the Trading Post. Okay, they don't have to do that. So they work hard to bring those programs to you. So, so go out there and show your appreciation to Josh and to WLAF for what they do. So, I'm expecting a phone call on this, because I'm gonna touch on some things going on in the county government. I've got a friend, if he wants to call in and identify himself, that we've talked about this, okay? And I know we've got one caller that calls in and says, you guys talked me into voting for E.L. Morton and all this, and I still am gonna give E.L. time to pull himself out. But so far, you know, we've had an ambulance service fiasco in the time that E.L. Morton has been elected mayor. We've had an ambulance service fiasco. We've had a situation at the environmental center. Okay. We've had a situation at the White Bridge Park. The big thing right now, though, is we just keep, well, we've got the jail, and that's not necessarily Mayor Morton's fault, other than he scheduled an open house that he had to cancel because it was just too early to do it. You know, they had that open house scheduled for, I think, April 30th. It didn't work out, so they kind of fumbled around that. But then we keep fumbling and messing up the animal shelter. It's one fiasco after another at that animal shelter. There's been suggestions to let somebody else take over that thing, okay? There's been suggestions, you know, he's got somebody supposedly hired to run the animal shelter, okay? I think one thing we can all agree on, people that have checked into it, I've checked into it, if I remember correctly, the number is $134,000 is all that is given to run that animal shelter on a yearly basis. I'm not sure how you can have a director of the animal shelter, a person that goes and picks up the animals, the animal control officer, a euthanasia person, which should be the animal control officer and has been in the past, but for some reason, at some point in time, I don't think it was Mayor Morton, but at some point in time, they took that away and had one person, this was just their job to do the euthanasia, okay? There shouldn't be that much euthanasia going on that you need somebody full-time to do that. You know, and then they had a couple of people that worked part-time to help just do just the general running of you know, what needs to be done to help maintain the place and keep the place going. Then you had to care for the animals, the medication, the euthanasia medicine, which I understand is very expensive, as well as the director and all that. I don't know how you can do that for $130,000 and feed the animals. You got to feed the animals. I don't know how you can do that for $134,000. Okay. You're on the air.
Jerry, this is Jim Slusher. How are you?
I'm good, buddy.
At Monday night's workshop, when it came time for citizen input, I stood up and asked the commission to go to the animal shelter and see it for themselves. Most of the commissioners went up there, believe it or not.
Yeah.
It was quite an eye-opener. And we saw animals, and it's my understanding that the shelter is going to be closed and all the animals are going to be euthanized. Now, I read in Mayor Morton's thing on WLAF that they're going to try to find private kennels, but there was a lot of confusion about whether that could be done or not, because you're mixing parvo exposed animals in cages that may be contaminated, that it may contaminate, so I don't really know.
Well, outside kennels just flat won't take them, is what I understand.
And so that means all the dogs that we saw, from what I understand, are going to be executed. And it was pretty heartbreaking. One person couldn't go back there and almost broke into tears because there were some very pretty dogs back there. I remember one that looked like a black lab, a young dog. There were some brindle-colored dogs there, and also a looked like a Chihuahua Dachshund mix, a very pretty dog, and one of the handlers was handling it. But you know, there's behind these executions there is a face.
Right.
It's dogs, and we've taken on the responsibility, mainly through state law, and also that we care for animals, the care of these dogs and cats. And it's gotten to the point now that we're on TV constantly. There's been umpteen number of parvo outbreaks, but these other animal shelters are operating in the same type of environment that we are, and they don't seem to have the problem. Now, for some reason, the animal control director position was not finished, and I think that was not filled when Mayor Morton went in, and why it wasn't, I don't know, but I think in reading state law, it was, after I read it to them, that a decision was made to hire a director, and I think she will do as good a job as she can possibly do. But it doesn't get at the real root of the problem, is what's causing the parvo outbreak, and also that the funding for the shelter has been cut back.
It's just, you know, I was just discussing that. I think, if I remember right, and you tell me if I'm wrong, you know, that shelter is supposed to operate salaries and insurance and everything on $134,000 a year. Is that right?
That's my understanding.
$134,000, and your salaries for your people, their insurance, the care for the animals, and the food that they have to feed those animals. I just don't see how it can be. I don't see how it can be done.
$350 a month to feed the animals, and their food comes. And we're talking about a large number of animals here. We're talking about they get food donations, I guess, from Walmart and different places. And if they didn't, the animals would literally starve if it weren't for donations.
Right.
There's, you know, shelters typically get donations. I'm not going to deny that. But for the basic operating budget, it's a county responsibility. Now, some people may say we shouldn't be spending county dollars on this or county dollars on that. You have to satisfy state law, and you also have, it's a protection thing for the citizens of this county.
Right.
And also, you know, animals are a part of our world. And the thing that bothers me is, Jerry, we had a 13.1% increase in the budget last year.
Okay.
I'm guessing that the increase this year will run over 15%. If you take 5 years of those types of double-digit increases, our budget will be double. It's called the rule of 72.
Right.
If you have an average increase of 15% a year, you divide it into 72, you get a little less than 5, so it'll take it about 5 years to double.
Okay.
And we are well on the way, because there is no industrial base or major commercial base to support our tax rate.
Right.
And it's all coming from residential property. And you cannot run a county on strictly residential property.
Right.
Closing of A&S Steel killed us. And now that property will go, all the inventory will be off the tax rolls, and they'll come in and ask for a tax adjustment because it's no longer a cash producing commercial venture.
And I think there's a for sale sign on the building.
We are in a very, very vicious cycle, and the trouble is all these tax increases do nothing except keep in place lackluster programs,
Right now,
such as the animal shelter.
right. And see, since you mentioned that, let's get into a couple other things if you don't care. I heard you mention, you've talked about taxes a couple of times, and you mentioned the industrial recruitment, okay? You mentioned the industry, so that's, if you don't care, let's talk about that a minute, because the animal shelter, we've got to do something about that. You know that, and I know that. Both of our opinions, I think we agree, to this point, has been a major failure for County Mayor E.L. Morton. Would you say that?
It's been a disaster, more than a failure.
It's been a
Embarrassment.
absolutely. So he's going to have to do something to fix that, and and people are upset about that all over the place. Now, industrial recruitment, you and I both sat here for week after week after week after Mayor Morton told us, help me get elected and I'm going to be the industrial recruiter.
Correct.
And that hadn't happened.
Correct.
That hadn't happened, and the way it's looking, he's not going to do that. They're looking to spend, what is it, $250,000 to fund an office and a person to be the industrial recruiter. Does that sound about right?
Not sure what the exact dollar amount was. I heard one figure of 85,000, but I don't know if that was going to be combined with some more money they had.
Well, I was thinking of the whole budget for funding an office for an industrial recruiter to pay, plus being able to do what an industrial recruiter needs to do to get business here, and that's going to cost quite a bit of money.
Yeah, my take on it is, first of all, you can't be an industrial recruiter if you're playing rabbit sheriff all the time, out chasing dogs and cats and not being able to do anything with that. And he's spending all this time on the animal shelter. It's very evident.
Right.
That this thing is eating his office alive. Because I guarantee you, these animal lovers are making phone calls constantly.
Right.
It's all they're dealing with. Now, then second of all, what's he going to sell to industry? I think they're getting the cart before the horse. We've got to have something to sell to bring industry in here. I've read the article in the paper today that the tax rate in Knox County is going to remain the same. I think they're spending $20 additional million on schools. They're spending this. Now, why are they able to do that? That's because their tax base mainly derives from industry. I think they have the 99th best economy in the world, not in Knox County, not in the state of Tennessee, not in the nation, but in the world. Knoxville.
Okay.
And how they've done that, it's a multi-year process. It has taken them 20, 30 years of active recruitment to get there.
Right.
Same way with Clinton. When I left here in the early 70s to go seek my fortune, which I didn't get, but when I left, the industrial park in Anderson County was coming to life. Now it is in full bloom. We're talking 40 years.
Yeah, they don't have anywhere to put anybody else, do they?
Well, we're going to go out and we're going to bring an industrial recruiter in here, and all of a sudden it's going to happen.
Right.
One thing that I hear from all these new industries when they come in is one key thing. Our schools, a welcome community. Here we have a superintendent search. We couldn't go beyond the borders of the county to look for anyone. I think we got a good superintendent, but it just shows you, I'm talking about the attitude. We can't go outside the borders of the county to hire someone.
Right.
Well, he may be a threat. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't, yeah, I'm with you. I don't, you know, I was on that committee, obviously, you know that. I was on that committee. I never understood, but that was decided before I got on the committee. I never understood why they didn't want to go outside the county lines to, you know, possibly find somebody. I don't know what harm it would have made, you know, because you could have done that and still arrived at the decision they arrived at, you know. But why limit?
Remember in Dr. Martin's tenure, now he got his personal life kind of in a dither, but if you'll remember, his achievement in this county was rated outstanding by the Board of Education, and I think one year he got a big bonus. And I'm sure his performance reviews were real good. But now, you know, he's considered Peck's bad boy. But, you know, it wasn't our fault that they didn't do a thorough investigation when they hired Dr. Martin. Maybe some of this stuff would have come to light. But, you know, we've got a lot of building to do before we go out and say, come and build your factory in our community.
Right.
We've got to have something to sell.
Well, and that leads back, and that leads me to the next point where I was talking about. I think you told me, I didn't get to go to the meeting Monday night, and I think you told me, I have talked to a few of the commissioners, and it seems to be at this point there is almost an agreement, not that they're going to vote this way, but everybody's thinking there's going to be at least a 22-cent tax increase. Does that sound right?
That's minimum, but then when you take, this doesn't include $350,000 that the
Ambulance service
service
loss.
is going to lose because of the reclassification of the service, going from an urban to a rural or a rural to an urban. I don't know.
I think it was rural to urban.
But it has something to do with Medicare reimbursement or something, the
Right.
rates change. But the net effect is we're going to lose $350,000.
Right.
And let me tell you something else. We have county employees, I think it's either 8 or 9 years that they have gone without a pay raise. Now, you know, a lot of people think of when they look at salaries of the big fat cats there in Jacksboro. I think our mayor makes somewhere around $90,000. That goes down from there. But we have many employees that are working for not even subsistence wages.
Right.
Take like the cafeteria workers. You know, our teachers are on the bottom rung. We're $1,300 in this county on per pupil funding on the state average.
Less than the state average.
Yeah, $1,300 per pupil, less than state average.
Less than state average.
Now,
And that's average, folks. That's not top of the line. That's average.
then look at our state,
Yeah.
48th in funding.
Right.
That means Campbell County is on the bottom of the bottom.
And the bottom of the bottom.
Mr. Nidifer about this, and he said, you're absolutely right.
Right.
He said, we're at the bottom.
He's going to ask for some more funding, but it's up to county commission whether they give it or not.
Well,
So-
they give the equity funding every year, but
Right.
but we're so low, it would take from here to eternity to bring us up to equity, even to the average.
Right.
Not going to happen.
Right. Hey, I got another caller. Let me talk to him or her.
Okay. Well,
Appreciate you.
I think I said enough.
Well, okay. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Okay. You're on the air.
Hey, Gary,
Yes.
I worked down in Jacksboro for over 20 years.
Okay.
I have never seen that road from the red light up past that brand new church, brand new bank, as bad as it is now.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to talk about that. Okay.
Well, I was told by Bob, no, not Bob, R.L., somebody called in and said they're supposed to do it, but they done the 4-lane instead.
I was told Monday. I was told this Monday. The 4-lane didn't have a thing to do with the city of Jacksboro.
No.
The 4 lane's TDOT. That's Tennessee Department of Transportation, okay? I was told Monday, I checked into that section of road, it's either already been bid or in the process of being bid out to be paved. And I was told, I think it's the time frame, hopefully I'll get this right, within 2 to 3 months, that road will be paved.
Okay.
Okay?
No hubcaps, enough hubcaps to pay for it, I guess.
You know, well, don't put no hubcaps on your car and drive through there, you'll lose them.
I know, but
You'll definitely lose them, but I was a person in the government, in the city of Jacksboro, specifically told me, because I asked that question, that project has been bid, or is in the process of being bid, and they thought it would be completed with, once the bid process, I think takes 30 days, then you open it and you award it, and it takes, a little while to get that. Shouldn't take very long to pave that, actually. So my understanding is within 2 to 3 months, that road is going to be paved. Should have been paved a long time ago. Mr. Freeman was here a few minutes ago, and we were talking about that, and I don't know, I'm not going to give away Mr. Freeman's age, but he's probably about my age. And he said, Jerry, he said, I think the last time they paved that road, I was in the 3rd grade. Now, I'll give you this, if Mr. Freeman's about the same age I am, 3rd grade was a long time ago.
yes, it was.
It was a long time ago, so.
It was longer maintenance than what, I've been there for I was there for 20 years, over 20 years.
Right. So now I made a mistake a few weeks ago. When we were talking about that, I said that is a state road. Okay. I got corrected. It's what's called my understanding is what's called a state aid road. It actually is a city of Jacksboro road, but when you do a state aid road, you can get some state aid funding to pave that road. Okay. I don't know how much the state's going to chip in once this project gets going. Okay. But I made the mistake, folks, when I misunderstood what state aid meant, and I said it was a state road. It's not. It is a city of Jacksboro road, and I got corrected on that, so I wanted to correct that here because I made that statement. I messed up, and
Somebody else told me that the city paid half, the county paid, well, not half, some, and the state paid some on it. So
if the county pays anything on, I can't imagine this county.
I can't either.
Because it's not. I don't think the county has anything to do with that. Now, I may be wrong, okay, but what I was told is that it's a city road, and there might be some state funding to help them pave that road. I didn't ask the question about the county road, but when I was told it's a city road, to me that takes the county completely out of it.
Well, that's what I think too. But one of the people that was there at the city told me that the city paid some, the county paid some, and the state fished it out. So.
Well, it's not done yet, and I don't know if the bid's even back in and open and unsealed, and I don't know if the job's awarded, but I know I was told that process has started to get that road paved, and I think we all agree it's about time.
Yes, it is.
I drive through there probably 4 or 5 times a week, maybe more than that. And I'm with you, and we're dodging potholes every time we go through there.
Yeah.
And if you've got hubcaps, every time you go through there, you need to check them because they might have come off, rolled off the side of the road. I think there's a business down around here somewhere, Hubcap Annie. She's probably got you hubcaps.
Yeah, time I go come back to look for it, it's gone.
It's gone. So somebody sell them for $5 or $10 a piece at the hubcap shop.
Yep.
So but.
All right, buddy, thank you.
Thank you. So that road, folks, is, my understanding is the process is starting. So that is a good thing. That is an excellent thing. Like everybody's discussed, like this call discussed, should have been done a long time ago, but at least it's finally getting done. And I've been told it should be within 2 to 3 months. That project should be finished. So hopefully we can go through there. And like he said, I mean, there's a nice church there. Bank's got a real pretty building. Landscape is nice there. Some other businesses up and down through there that deserve to have a nice road. So hopefully within the next 2-3 months, they will have a nice road. Mr. Potter paved a lot of that out to the bridge from down Toe String. So if we can get the rest of that paved, that'd be a really good road through there. So, but there you go. So that'll take care of that. So, we had a little controversy in the city of Jacksboro this week. I got a message from a citizen. I'm not going to give that citizen's name, but I got a message from the citizen that said last Thursday at the city of Jacksboro, the mayor wasn't at the meeting. I've confirmed that with the mayor. He was not at the meeting. But if he had been, I don't know that it would have went any different. They've had a policy, they've had a long-standing policy that you cannot videotape, record those meetings. For whatever reason, there's been a policy, you can't do it, okay? I've had somebody checking on state law to see if there's any legality to that. Haven't got the confirmation back on that. Hopefully we'll get a call. Let us know about that, okay? But I started making some phone calls Monday morning after I got this message about that and started checking on that and was told that that the city's attorney and the DA have said the mayor and council are within their right to tell people you cannot record this meeting. Okay, well, I told the mayor when I discussed this through a text message. I discussed this with the mayor. I said, I find that hard to believe, and I'm going to check on this to see, And I immediately, shortly afterward, I called Hazel Valley. I called Hazel Valley when I do need some research done in the law. I generally will call Hazel Valley because he does great research when it comes to the Tennessee Code Annotated. That man knows how to do research and research some district attorney general's opinions on some things, and hopefully he can call and enlighten us on what he found. But I just don't see how that's legal to tell you can't record those meetings. But I was told the reason that they didn't want you recording the meetings, they're afraid somebody would take and edit the recording just to make them look bad. So I really had a problem with that, and I'm thinking, okay, if the city records it themselves, which to me they should, then what difference does it make what anybody else records and puts together to make them look bad? Because if you've got your own recording, then you know what happened, you know what you said, and you've got your official recording to back up what you're saying, okay? Because there's always going to be somebody out there trying to make somebody look bad over something, okay? All you have to do to find that out is go read Topics. If you read Topics, that's nothing but a trash website. Trashy people, in my opinion, trashy people get on there and say trashy things about, whatever, and they get away with it, But somebody, if I go record that meeting, it's not to do anything derogatory to the mayor or anybody on the council. You're on the air.
Hey, big guy.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, speaking of recording,
Okay.
do you remember when Mike Stanfield down here at the City of La Follette meeting was jumping up and down, clapping his hands, and he got a tree company to work free of charge to get 2 big city trees that were fixing to fall on the Odie Braden's property. Remember that?
I remember that.
Mayor was jumping up and down, I got them for free.
Right.
Well, turns out this tree company that the mayor was so affectionate about came, did about half the job, tore Odie Braden's yard all to pieces, left a big ugly stump right beside his driveway, tore up one of his other trees by letting the tree fall down and strip the limbs off it, got dead limbs hanging all over one of the trees that could fall out on somebody any moment. These are huge trees. But anyway, this company, when they showed up, they had no license plates on their trucks. They had to run down and get some license plates. They were from out of county, out of town, and the mayor claimed they were insured and bonded and all that. They were not bonded. Their phone number had been cut off, disconnected. They had to run down and get license plates for their trucks. And they had no insurance. They were not bonded. Nothing.
I wouldn't let them on I wouldn't let them on city property without being bonded and insured, would you?
They had no business license either.
Okay.
And they were on city property, and they were all over Odie Braden's property, and he tore it all to pieces. Left his yard all tore up, and left big ugly stumps, pieces of wood, all kinds of stuff laying around. And I mean, they just made it. It only did half the job and bailed out. And then we're going to leave a whole bunch of brush and everything, but Odie stopped them and said, no, you got to take that brush with you.
Right.
And but they only did half the job. What's the mayor doing running around with unlicensed? They didn't even have a business license.
Well, I guess if you're doing it for free, and
they were from out of town, out of the county, and they did cut the logs up, haul them off, tore his yard up, dragging logs across the yard. I don't know how many different pickup trucks come in there and get loads of firewood. They cut it up in a firewood size stick.
Right.
Then the main tree trunk they hauled off to a lumber mill. God knows how much money they got for them logs. You could have built a house. I mean, there was enough lumber in that one tree to build a house.
So they probably come in there, if they'd actually did it for free, they come in there for the wood.
They did not finish the job, and the mayor will not talk to Odie Braden. He will not answer his phone. He will not return a call. The city promised they'd be there yesterday to talk to Odie about it, get this straightened out. Nobody showed up. It's amazing how they will get in front of a meeting, talk about, we got this for nothing. We got it for free. We're going to get all this work for free. And then this unlicensed, unbonded, out of county, out of town, fly-by-night company comes in here, leaves this huge mess in this man's property, and now the mayor won't do anything about it. He won't respond. He won't take care of business. But he was really ready to take credit for, I got this for nothing. But
I remember that.
He's made a mess down here. And Mr. Braden, he's a retired railroad engineer. His wife retired from the school system. She's probably one of your teachers. Brenda Braden.
Yeah, I don't know her.
And
I may have met her, I don't know.
Two highly educated, very, very straightforward, good citizens, and they're both, I think, in their real late 70s, early 80s.
Okay.
And
hey, before we run out of time,
yeah,
what did you find out about? Did you find out anything about the video at the city of Jacksboro?
I couldn't find anything where they had the authority to prevent anybody from filming, except for the fact that the mayor in that type of city, I think he's mayor, council, or mayor alderman type city, that the mayor is pretty much in charge of the meeting and setting up and organizing the city council meeting, and they're supposed to meet twice a month.
Okay.
But I couldn't find anything that permitted him to prevent anybody from filming it. Now, they are public meetings. He cannot make them private or anything like that, but
right.
I can't find anything.
Well, two factors about that. Let me give you two facfactors about that, okay?
To shut it down.
Yeah, two factors I want to give you about that. Mayor Cannon, I texted him today because I was told that they had decided they are going to allow folks to video record the meetings. So Mayor Cannon told me that they're working on a resolution to decide how many are going to be allowed at each meeting to record the meeting. And if you bring a camera, where you are to set up they're going to limit you to where you can set up your camera to be, when you record the meeting. Okay. Now, this might be of interest to you. I was talking to Mr. Freeman a little while ago, and we were talking about that subject, and Mr. Freeman advised me to call the Tennessee Broadcasters Association. He said that association should be able to tell you right away. He said, they've been doing this a long time. They should be able to tell us right away whether it's legal for a mayor or a council to tell folks that you can or cannot do this. So maybe we can look up and call the Tennessee Broadcasters Association and ask them that question, but it may be a moot point because the mayor and the council apparently have decided to allow citizens to do that, to record it.
Now, Jerry, without your effort and your input, do you think Mayor Cannon would have taken a serious look at this and backed down?
I don't know.
I really appreciate what you're doing for our community. Government sometimes they just really, I don't know. After they're elected, they lay there and they look in bed. They go to bed and they look at the ceiling before they fall asleep. They get thinking that the hand of God has come down and touched them and made them all powerful. And
well, sometimes I think, and maybe you'll agree with this. Sometimes I think that some in the government forget that their job is to serve the people, not rule the people.
Exactly, well said.
And I think some of them feel like they've got elected to rule the people and be leaders and rulers over them instead of, our job is here to serve you and to do what is best for you in our community.
And we're nice enough as producers to see to it they're paid for that service.
And some of them get paid. Some of them get paid very well.
Yeah.
Anyway,
without your effort and everything, God knows what would happen down there.
Well, I appreciate you giving me some credit for that. So, but we'll see what we'll try to find out. So I got one more call that's going.
Okay.
Thank you, buddy.
Taking my call.
Okay. You're on the air.
I tell you a lot of what our animal shelter's problem is. These people that works like as ASPC or whatever they call it, getting these animals that's not took care of and bring them in.
Right.
They go to Knoxville, them women goes to Knoxville everywhere, brings them cats and dogs into our animal shelter. If they had some way to control that, they would get rid of that parvovirus.
Well, they're going to have to do a massive cleanup job up there, and I think the mayor is planning on doing that. Now, how they're going to do that, I'm not real sure.
Well, if they go out of the county and bring in old diseased dogs and cats, there ain't no way they can get rid of it, because one animal that's got parvo will pollute a whole gang again.
Yeah, and I don't know that that's happening. I don't, I don't have any information other than the fact that you made that statement that they're bringing animals from outside the county in.
I know a woman that used to volunteer out there.
Okay.
She drove disability from the service.
Okay.
She'd go to Knoxville, and here she'd go with them crates and bring back all kinds of stray dogs and cats.
Okay.
And she didn't have no business taking in out at our animal shelter from Knox County.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. That shouldn't happen.
Well, that's my point.
Thank you. Honeybee, we about ready? Okay, hold on. Folks, remember to go see the folks down with all your medals and stuff at Jacksboro Metals. Wednesdays is $20 Winter Wednesday. The 20th customer gets an extra $20. And if you call 911, ask for Vital Care. They'll send those good folks out there to take care of you. I appreciate you. We'll see you next week.